Feel the rhythm of the streets, neon lights and neon dreams. Bloody face, they feel no pain when there's so much more to gain. Hunting season, if you will, tell me where'd you rather be? I can hardly see the moon, hope we'll get there pretty soon. Trying so hard to release you out of the misery. Hold on to your wishes if you can't hold on to me. Forgive me for letting you down. Forgive me for letting you down again. I guess I'm not strong enough right now.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
Hello out there, YouTube land. This is your T-shirted historian. Been kind of a rough week. It's kind of hard to find anything really wonderful to talk about today because just seems like we've been inundated with a lot of shit lately, and it's kind of hard to swim through. So yeah, one of the things we're going to talk about is the wonderful D&D Creators Summit, the WOTC Creators Summit. I've heard 2 or 3 different accounts on how it went and some of the stuff that came up about it, and I can't say I'm really surprised, considering who they invited to come hang out with them and talk to them. You know, I'm really not surprised that you know, they got their asses raked over the coals. You know, that's just kind of what happens. I mean, now, you know, in all defense, let's say they had offered me and my crew to come down there and talk to them too. We probably would have raked their asses over the coals too. Just to be quite honest. So, I mean, I'm not saying that we're any better necessarily. I'm just saying, if you open up a quote unquote summit and you invite a bunch of people, you shouldn't be surprised at what's going to happen, especially when you've been pissing off the fan base and the player base, for the last few months. What did you expect was going to happen, guys? What did you expect? I guess you guys are lucky. Nobody rioted. I mean, they didn't. They didn't lynch Kyle Brink, despite the fact that, from the sounds of it, he practically got dismembered by Connie Chang and a few of the other ones who attended. But yeah, that's it's not entirely unexpected. I haven't actually gotten the numbers on the new D&D movie yet, so I don't know how it's doing. But I'm pretty sure that Mario is probably beating the pants off of it at this point. I just haven't really had an interest in it so far. It's just been that kind of week, so we're gonna slog through all this tide of crap, and we have some positive stuff also to talk about, and we're gonna try to keep it kind of positive because we're not all about just talking shit all 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, however long it takes us to usually do a show. So anyway, let's bring on the guests because I've got some cool ones today. I have got my man Grim.
Hello.
Got my man Ironcaster. These are the two guys. I could not do my show without these guys. These guys literally hold it together for me all week.
We're like the duct tape of geekdom.
You really are. You really are. And then we've got Ryan, David, and
Hey.
Victor.
Yeah, you've got the chopped liver.
We have
hoi
Mr.
iedereen.
Dying Breed.
Hey, the village idiots here.
Yeah. And we have Tabletop Junkie. And here's our special guest today. We have Aaron from Immortal Comics.
Hey,
Immortal Rising.
what's up, everybody?
Hey.
Thanks for
First
having
time
me
on
on.
the stream. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Hey, no
appreciate
problem. Yeah. So hopefully we will have some positive stuff because, Aaron's going to talk about his stuff. And
Mhm.
I know that we've got some other guys here who've got some projects going, and that should be good. And, I just kind of want to take a minute to say that, it's obvious that the corporations have failed us, and they continue to fail us, and will continue to fail us in the foreseeable future, or for the foreseeable future, I should say, because we had that wonderful announcement of Rey returning to Star Wars, and I'm sure everybody was very excited about that.
Does anger count as excitement?
No, it doesn't. although it does raise your blood pressure.
Yeah,
But all I can say is
somehow Ray came back.
yes. Despite the fact that the corporations are failing us, it's good to know that our homegrown friends are making stuff that we like and is good. And that's really what we need to focus on, more so than the corporations.
So in your
crap.
intro, you said we're not any better because we would have raked them over the coals as well. Well, we
Yes.
would have raked them over the coals because they're doing what we as fans, as long-standing fans, they're doing something we don't like.
Right.
The people that actually rake them over the coals, they're the people actually being pandered to. So we have more right to be upset than they do. They're the people that actually that Wizards of the Coast is bending over backwards to change the game for them, and they're still not happy. So
Yeah.
we are better than them. Sorry, I'm just gonna say.
In that way, yes, you're right. You're right. I suppose it's kind of telling that that Wizards hired or didn't hire, but they flew all these people out on their own dime, and they gave them dinner and put them up in a hotel and all this other shit. And I don't know how much of a per diem or anything they gave them, but they pretty much they wined and dined them, and all those people pretty much still fucked them in the ass. And
Well, it was wined with an H.
yeah,
With a W.
definitely.
Not all of them got a per diem, but some of them did. And rumor has it was $300 a
Damn.
day. Not bad.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not enough to basically cover any of your expenses, basically. So your hotel, the money you might wind up spending there for, say, food, your
Man.
But to
I
the
was gonna say $300 is kind of slim for that kind of travel.
I
Like,
suppose.
I should correct myself. It wasn't per day. It was $300 total for the whole thing.
Ouch.
Well, I mean, just to put it into perspective, if somebody wanted to tip me $300 today, I wouldn't bitch. I promise.
No, but
Yeah,
you're
I mean,
gonna take a hotel. You're gonna take airport. You're gonna take gratuity. You're gonna take meals. What they don't provide. It's in the software world when I have to travel, right? It's tough to do it for realistically less than $300 a day. It's closer to $450 a day once you factor all of those things in. So I don't know.
And plus, being in this part of Washington, it's a bigger town. It's not exactly going to be as budget friendly as your little podunk towns that so many of us happen to live in.
Well, and in their defense, right, we don't want people to be bought off. Right?
No.
Right. No, I
Right.
absolutely agree. I'm just saying that, if they're not putting up the hotel and board, $300 is kind of slim for anyone to travel. I'm sure they got a swag bag too, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure they got a swag bag.
Yeah, I heard that rumor too. They got a swag package.
Oh, of course
Did
they did.
invite any normal people?
No.
Well,
let's not forget the swag bags were all tax deductible, so they got something out of it too.
well, let's see. They invited Daniel Kwan. They invited Connie Chang. They invited what's that guy's name? The Crusading Bard or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know.
So yeah, nobody
Critical Bard.
Critical Bard. Oh yeah.
Critical Bard. Dungeon Dad.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I am curious what
Destructo Boy.
they would have had in a swag bag like that, considering it's like, well, we can't give them a Dungeon Master's handbook because they all presumably have that. Do we guys, do we have any of that leftover movie merchandise we can give them? How about one of those little popcorn buckets?
Probably
just give them Oriental Adventures.
Oh yeah.
No,
That'd
but
be
for a
good.
cherry-picked audience, and I'm not putting my ego so large, and it's big, but it's not big enough to think that I would ever get an invite to this. But even the big folks in our corner of the hobby, absent.
Yeah.
Absent.
I think they had
I was going to
someone
say
from.
I watched a video on from Dungeon Craft talking about how he wasn't invited or whatever. I'm not saying that he should have been or whatever, but it was interesting his take on it. Some of the stuff that he heard and whatnot, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're turning into a video game. Are they not?
Oh yeah, and yeah, Crafty Matt. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The people they invited pretty much just tore them a new asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with Connie Chang.
I think they had someone from EN World there. That's about as normal as it got. I think.
What were the actual complaints though? Because I didn't look that far into it. Like, was it just basically you guys aren't doing enough to make D&D non-racist and non-colonialist and all that dumb shit?
Yeah.
Oh,
that.
I'm sure.
Shall I go on?
Good.
That and they wanted more support because they were being attacked online. To the point of even asking for mental health care provision or something. It's like, you're not employees.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Stop flinging shit at everyone, and you won't be attacked.
Well,
stop claiming that people that play D&D are racists and colonialists, and you won't get backlash.
Okay, to put it into perspective, I heard about the whole mental health care bit. Okay, now to put it into perspective, the person who asked about that is a freelancer.
Okay.
So yeah, imagine if I hired Grim for a project and suddenly he says, I need insurance, I need health insurance while I'm working on this project for you.
Yeah. But it seemed like it was more than that. Like it was third-party creators saying, we're going to bat for you and so on. You should stick up for us.
Mm-hmm.
But just because you've hitched your wagon to my company through an open contract, an open agreement, doesn't tie me on to providing for you. Sorry, not even over here in jolly old socialist Europe would that fly.
Yeah.
Not to mention, they know the deal, right? It's not like they have a glorious contract. They're giving up a lot. So, that was a ridiculous ask. Look, I defended Wizards. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Oh, when something is ridiculous, it's ridiculous. Like, yeah.
Well, it's weird. It's like I don't want to feel sorry for the billion-dollar corporation, but I kind of do, just because it's kind of like, wow. I mean, despite the fact that we know that they're bastards, we know that some of them are actually kind of human beings, sort of, maybe.
Nah, I don't. No, they're reptilian aliens controlling the world.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad because they made the bet and now they have to lay in it. So
yeah. Well, I do want to defend some of the artists and the people who are a part of this, because the artist for my comic book, he has been in the animation world for years, right? He got bloody hands from working in animation, and we were looking at was it the new Spider-Man clip or whatever it was, some animated show. Was it Spider-Man or was it? I don't know. It was one of those, and they had a little BLM, tag on a bag or something like that. And somebody pointed it out. I was like, oh, geez, here comes this, messaging, and he's like, well, those animators, they have to put in so much of the representation that they're told to. So like they have to put in a little something here or a little something there, because like if they don't, they lose their job. So it's not that everybody who's in these art teams are behind all this. Like not everybody's that nefarious, thankfully, but they still have to do it to get cash their checks and stuff. So, yeah.
And I can agree from an artist perspective. I've worked on books that were less than tasty at times, and but it's it's money, so you do what you do to pay the bills, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's one thing to hate the people that are in charge, and it's another thing to go after just individual artists or whatever. Unless they're on Twitter just like shit flicking, then yeah, they're fair game. But
yeah, if they open their mouth on Twitter, it's just kind of like bye, party on, baby.
Yeah, public forum.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Agora.
Yeah,
well, I mean, it's kind of like what we've been seeing with the realm of the Marvel films. How for the last about a year or so, we've been hearing nothing but complaints about the effects people just basically being given poor leadership, poor supervision by what was it, Victoria Alonso, who that was her job, and as a result, those projects then suffered for it because they weren't given proper leadership for how to run these. They were running things so very close to the chest. It wound up leading to a bad product in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the effects from 10 years ago are better than the shit that they're putting out now. It's wild.
Well, it's the deal. It's she's gone now, so I'm hoping things will get better once the shit can of all of her stuff is finally done with, because she's got a lot of projects that were in the pipeline when she quit and when she was fired, I guess, whatever. And it's it's kind of like the garden hose analogy. It's when you pick up the garden hose and it's been laying in the mud and shit for a while, you got to turn the hose on, and all the crap comes out first, and then you get the nice water. So it's gonna be the same thing at Disney, I think. We got to get the poo-poo water has to come out of the hose before the good films start coming out.
Which kind of puts at odds with what was coming out of the shareholders meeting from this past week. Which I don't know if any of you happen to have caught that.
No, you're a shareholder, so.
Oh, I mean,
of course, right?
I sold my Disney stock after the last big Avengers movie, because I was like, it's all downhill from here. I was like,
you were smart.
I have an insane Disney bond that's matures in 2093 and it pays about 7%. So that's where I'm at. It's my son's bond, right? And probably his son's bond. So,
well, still, the thing is, we don't want Disney to fail. We don't want Wizards of the Coast to fail. We want them to succeed, but we want them to put out a good product, and we're willing to support them if they will. Right? It's not just us bitching to bitch.
I'm not against them from just eating themselves. It's okay.
Well, Aaron, you're absolutely right. It's going to take huge systemic change in the company before anything seriously happens.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to
I'm
tear
not
it
trying
down.
to poo-poo Ryan's, Bond or nothing, but at the same time, like right now, they're pumping out poison, and
Yeah.
if that doesn't change and they don't correct, like I'm not a big fan of corporations to begin with, but so you got to actually put out things that are worth talking about, something with some kind of virtue. That would be
Yeah.
excellent.
I mean,
Well,
right now
I'd say that after this weekend, the big thing that's going to lead to that change is going to be competition heating up. And I'd say just based on how well it's doing, Mario is that competition.
Yeah, Mario, I think is killing it, and I think it will be killing it for a little while.
I'll probably
Did you guys see the Rotten Tomatoes stuff for Mario?
Oh, I'm sure the Rotten Tomatoes thing is like, yeah, the critics all probably saying, this
Critics
film
hate
is, we don't like this film. It's too childish. It's you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like Siskel and Ebert trying to review an episode of Barney the fucking dinosaur. I did not like the dialogue. It was too childish. The special effects didn't look very good, and I just could not believe the acting in that. Those children seem very fake.
I've got a numbers update for you guys for Mario.
Oh, cool.
Worldwide, it is currently sitting at $147 million.
It's not bad.
With not as good as
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday numbers.
That's not as good as I had thought.
Well, you got to realize that Wednesday and Thursday are going to largely be, not all kids will be out of school, but today's going to be the big day. I think ultimately it's going to hit 200 million easy.
Here's the example, and this is where the ego comes in, right? I try not to go to the theater, but I actually had a conversation at the family level. We're gonna go and we're gonna take the little dude to see Mario, and there hasn't been a movie that's been out for, recent memory where we've said that. So I can see it happening. I actually think that probably Easter weekend was a softer weekend for them to drop that movie, because people do have family stuff and, zombie Jesus stuff to do with their churches that is going to prevent them from sitting in the theater for 3 hours. So,
well, the other thing about that though is spring break is happening at different states right now all around the country. Some people are having spring break effectively after Easter, like some high schools and colleges. Next week it's slowly be just as strong, I think.
Well, we'll see. Like I said, the D&D movies having to deal with John Wick 4 and Mario, so I don't know how it's stacking up compared to that. But
I don't know. A lot of people caved. A lot of people that I did not expect to go see this movie over the last week and a half have tweeted how they went to see this movie. It kind of rubbed my rhubarb the wrong way, because where do you draw the line and put your convictions? More people caved than I thought would have.
So I got to about a 6.5 or 7 out of 10 to want to see it. It's like, nice action adventure, maybe some comedy, right? But I leave a lot of that up to my kids and family, right? I'm like, all right, do you guys want to go see it? And they were like, yeah, but it never came up again. And with the Mario movie, they're like, yeah, let's go see it. So more likely we're going to see Mario, probably not the D&D movie. So, okay.
I just got some numbers. Thank you, Green Dragon. Apparently, Honor Among Thieves dethroned John Wick. So it's in the number 2 spot behind the Mario movie. And it's pretty close. It's closer than I thought.
I've got a chart up for that if you want to share my screen.
Is that worldwide or America?
It's domestic.
Okay.
Which is basically the U.S. and Canada, and I think Mexico gets thrown in on that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
I predicted early on that the D&D movie was going to do okay. It's not going to break any records or anything, but I thought it would do fairly well. I have no doubt that Mario is going to beat it, simply because Mario is more of a family film.
Yeah.
But I knew a lot of people would cave. I just knew it, Ryan.
Hey, I want to shout out to Abomination AJ. He and One Eye Ego or Left Eye Ego are a couple of YouTubers, and they've got some great stuff on. It's good to see you, Abomination. I'm hoping Ego will come on the show one of these days, and maybe Abomination too.
I think I'm subscribed to both of them.
Yeah, they're both good guys. They have a good show. They'd have some mad video game talk that I love. Although, I'd kind of like to bring them on, especially for the Street Fighter 6 whenever it comes out in June. See what they
Nice.
think.
Or the movie that was just announced.
The movie that was just announced?
Well, actually, it's more so. I believe Legendary Studios got the Street Fighter rights.
Oh, geez.
Live
I
action,
hope
right?
I hope it's a sequel to the Van Damme one.
No,
Yes.
we don't talk about the
Yes.
Van Damme one.
No,
Oh,
I
no,
want
no,
to
no,
see
no,
Van Damme
Raul
with the
Julia.
title head.
Right?
Yeah.
Raul
Yeah.
Julia is why we can talk about the Van Damme one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
rented that for
Van-
my birthday once, and it ruined my birthday.
Van damn it, Victor.
Just to kind of go over this a little bit and show this off. This currently, after 8 days, like at the very bottom of here is the Dungeons and Dragons movie. I think this is just this is the domestic, so this is U.S. alone or North America alone.
Yeah,
52 million.
internationally, it's done about half again, I think.
I mean, look, the little kid in me wants to see, a cool D&D movie. Not gonna lie, but I'm not a fan of WOTC. I'm just not interested in handing Hasbro any money either. So it's kind of like got you ripped in two. But I'll say if it does well, good for it. I don't think it will give much to Hasbro in the long run, but maybe it'll spawn more fantasy movies that are well done.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear the rumor about it? That the main character, Chris, what's his face? Yeah, originally it was supposed to be Twist.
Whoa.
Hmm.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but
They're
at the
not
same
gonna
time,
touch
would
that
they
with a 10-foot
dare
pole.
that? Yeah, like how would they would have handled that? Like, you can't have a dude with like a CGI like dog face, like white
Digital blackface. No.
They're not going to touch Dritz with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? They love to do nothing but like talk about race. That's perfect for them.
Are they going to
Oh,
say
yeah.
that Dritz is Sambo? Is that what we're
No.
going to do?
God, no.
Also,
yeah.
Delva said to shoot him a link t-shirt. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I did. I shot him a link.
Hilarious.
Chris, the Paladin was supposed to be. Oh well, I should have.
That
Hey,
would be-
Keely Chow.
Okay, that's yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, kind of moving back to our original topic on the summit, which wasn't a summit, as it actually was pretty much just a showcase for the virtual tabletop. And
Session.
what's that?
/struggle session, apparently.
yes. Connie Chang turned it into a struggle session because what should have been a 3-hour presentation ended up being 5 hours because they just tore them apart.
Hilarious.
Well, I mean, really good for Connie Chang, right? I mean, she's the one that got the ball rolling. I'm sure there were people sitting there thinking the stuff in their head, and she had the guts to get up there and say it. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not a fan of hers, but
I was going to say,
at least-
never before have we said that phrase on this show, right? but it's true. I mean, props where they're deserved.
yeah.
She won't,
Yeah.
she won't be coming back.
So what was her complaint?
Well, actually, her main what started it all was, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't exactly know what she said, but she said something to the effect of, "We thought this was going to be, an open discussion and a forum and everything like you promised us. This instead of just a show off for your VTT."
Presentation.
Yeah, a trade show. Yeah.
It was a presentation for a timeshare.
Basically, yeah. Hey, D&D. Dungeon Delver.
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
what's up?
It's kind of deliciously ironic, though, that they set out and they invited all of a particular kind of person who they have been bending over backwards to cater to for the last God knows how long, and then they still ate them alive.
Yeah. Well,
There's
I mean,
Delicious.
I'm glad I wasn't there because I would have been like, why do you listen to these assholes?
Yeah, then they're never gonna be happy. They're like on a massive
Yeah.
power trip. They're never gonna be happy. They won't be happy until D&D is just like destroyed and unrecognizable.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you, one of the
can
differences
do-
between D&D and the indies is that the indies don't hate their audience.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think one of the things that kind of came out from the stuff I heard and read and saw about the summit was the fact that it's, kind of getting back to the corporation thing, they're completely out of touch. They're completely out of touch with their market, their creators, their freelancers, with pretty much everybody except for those in the inner circle of the corporation. They talked about the VTT, which we've discussed last week before, and
we roasted it pretty good.
And they were showing this thing being run on all these high-end gaming laptops, and people asked, well, what are the specs going to be? Well, they couldn't answer that. Well, what's the price point going to be? They couldn't answer that. And then someone said, well, will we be able to run this on lower end PCs? And their response was, oh, is that something you want?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's they were even asking. They said, is this going to be able to be run on a browser? Because they're obviously wanting to do like streaming of the game with that in place, and they said no, it's an app. So there's no browser right now.
And that's the thing too. It's like, what kind of PC? So you've got this. So you've got a VTT that runs on Unreal Engine 5, and then now I want to live stream it. So I'm setting up OBS or whatever.
Yeah.
And I got to have the good internet connection and blah blah blah. And you talk about, for a company that screams about accessibility to the hobby all the time, for that group of people, it's one of the most. You're going to have to be pretty well off to be able to afford to play their VTT at this point. I mean, the way it's looking. I mean, you're going to have a high-end PC. You're going to have, you're going to pay for, good internet bandwidth and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, it's going to be very cost prohibitive for a lot of people.
Well, if I may, this is something I brought up here. I was just kind of rambling on Tuesday evening or whatever it was, because I just tend to meander sometimes, so I apologize. But I was pointing out, talking about computer tech, and I was indicating, I was talking about the history of NVIDIA, the video chip company, if you're not familiar with them. And NVIDIA has completely abandoned all pretense of having a mid-range or low-end for entry-level consumers. And they've said so. We're not making budget chips anymore. We're not doing it. You can pay $1,300 for an RTX number, or you can live on an iGPU. We don't care. You're not our customer base anymore. And they're basically doing it to drive off, because there's not low end competition. There's two GPU makers. This is not the 90s anymore, because they don't care. And this is basically WOTC's doing the same thing. They're setting up their VTT so that, yes, you have to have Gig E. Yes, you have to have the latest Apple Silicon or an i9 rig. Yes, you absolutely have to have all the bells and whistles to run this. They literally, if you're going to play D&D, they want as much of your money spent on playing D&D as possible. They want pay pigs. They have seen what for example Games Workshop does. Games Workshop is unabashed. One miniature is $25 or $30. In 1989, $30 bought me 2 boxes of orcs. And I'm not making that up. This is very much this is not a misstep. This is by design. What Wizards of the Coast is doing is by design. They want to drive away people who want to come in at the margins, who have to go mac and cheese or ramen for a paycheck so they can afford a player's handbook, but then they're set. Okay, they don't want that crowd anymore.
Yeah,
they're anathema, because the problem is regardless of what edition it is, it creates people like me, people who stick around for a long time and do things by hand, who roll up their sleeves and handcraft stuff and enjoy the game for what it is. And we stick around and we tell newcomers, well, you don't have to run your Ranger like that, because the player's handbook, just the core player's handbook, is perfectly cool, and you don't need to buy. No, they want me out of the store. They want me gone. They want anybody with that mindset gone. And creating a hurdle point where you have to have a $1,500 streaming / gaming rig to play Dungeons and Dragons is first step in that, and that's
eliminating the average consumer.
Yeah, it's they're targeting upper middle class. Have to be, because my ass can't afford that.
Neither can mine. Neither can me. I would not be able to keep up with all of the new stuff that they come out with. I am with this being their direction. I am. Even with the job I have now, as I just explained before the stream, I just got a new job. I bring in a decent amount of money, but it's still, with my housing expenses, I'm not going to spend that kind of money on that.
No.
Could I?
No.
Maybe, but it's gonna hurt, and I cannot afford to. Honestly, I hate to say it. I'm gonna admit it right now on stream. That way, you guys can hear it for yourselves. Everyone heard me say it. As an average consumer, I cannot afford to support Wizards of the Coast anymore. I can't afford it. It's not that I don't want to. I can't literally afford it.
And let me tell you how you're not going to be able to afford it, because that is not actually going to be one D&D. That has been eliminated. That was a working title. What it really is going to be is D&D 5.5. They're not calling it that, but that's what it is. It's going to be a reworking of all of the rule books with lots more art, with larger typeface and more pages. It will bloat the cost up and inflate it. They're dropping out certain races. The half elves and the half orcs are gone.
So much for diversity, man.
Yeah, so much for diversity. And the other part of that too is they say it will, that you can use your old books and get them in, and yet they're not supposed. The book is not supposed to be backwards compatible with the other book. In other words, there's going to be legacy rules that are going to be removed from the game in the new edition. So,
it's funny because that article, there was the article that we all probably have all read about, the half races, the half elves and half orcs. They said they're being eliminated because it's racist and wrong to have half blood species in the game. So they're saying they're being more by having half orcs and half elves, that they're less diverse than they are going to be in the future. Now they're going to be more diverse by eliminating the choices.
Well,
but they have not came out and supported the reason why they said that. They just said this is what it is, but they haven't came in with any other fine print saying, well, this is why we're doing it. This is why it's made racist. This is why that. No, they're just saying it is.
But tieflings are still there,
by Crawford,
right?
Yeah, tieflings are still in there.
Tieflings are still there.
Yeah.
Well, they hit a snag because they wanted to call everything, instead of race, they wanted to say species, right? Because
but now they're not going to use that either.
Critical race garbage, and so now it's like, well, shit. Now we can't have the interbred races, right? So now
they're basically doing. They're basically doing a cosplay system. So now you can mix and match any race you want. So you can literally be a dwarf with elf stats and like a tiefling tail and like a unicorn horn and hoofs and fucking 12 fingers on each hand. And it's like, oh yeah, it's fine.
But isn't a tiefling a creature with demon blood mixed with a human?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
But tiefling are a big part of that.
It's all right to fuck the demons, just not the elves, okay?
They can't get rid of tieflings, they're too popular.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, Crafty Matt, you gotta get it right now. It's just LGB, okay? The TQ is gone.
But they're replacing it with a half-baked mix whatever you want system, and it's just lame. Like, it's cosplay. Archetypes and tropes exist for a reason. I don't like this cosplay horse shit where you can just be, like I said, an elf with dwarf stats or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can't just drop like a giant bomb like that and claim that half races are like inherently racist and then not clarify why that supposedly is. We're all supposed to just know, I guess, as good social justice people. I don't know.
Yeah, Goliaths are
any of
going to
you
be
guys-
regular in the book now. So
You know, Victor,
Thanks,
I have to just get this out there, and I will shut my mouth so T-shirt can take it back over. But I just have
Sure.
to get this out there because you mentioned cosplay. Do you have anyone seen the fact that somebody was actively attacked on Twitter today for dressing up as Ahsoka Tano? So there is no cosplay ability.
what?
She was
Wait,
cosplaying
what?
as Ahsoka Tano, and they told her that it was racist for her to cosplay as Ahsoka Tano because she was white, and Ahsoka Tano is not white.
Well, she's a fucking alien.
Yeah, okay, but I guess I'm guessing here, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. They're basing it on the fact that it's what's her face from Clerks 2 playing
Rosario
her.
Dawson.
Yeah, it's Dawson playing her, and Dawson's black, so ergo Ahsoka is black.
She's
so
Puerto
you
Rican.
can-
Yeah.
Well,
she's
whatever.
not
Well,
black.
I don't
She's
care what she is. She's
Afro-
smoking,
Afro-Caribbean
is what
then, I
she
don't know.
is.
Yes, she is.
She obviously has
You
some
know?
dragon, huh?
I saw her naked in that Alexander movie, and I was just like, Jesus.
I still
Yeah.
remember from
That
Clerks
was
2.
one of the comments I
That's all
saw.
need.
They said, "Well, why didn't the studio just hire a real alien to just play it? That way, would everything be fine?" You know?
That's funny.
The aliens rate was way too high. That's all.
I've noticed the trend, and I'm gonna say
It's hard to
we're
get
just not
visas.
we're just not allowed to do whatever we want to do in our own games anymore. And it's like me, I'm fighting back on that. I'm be like, no, this is my game. This is where I am.
Oh.
Come and join in. I accept all of you.
I just want to remind you all, in the interest of diversity and such, remember, this is officially from Wizards of the Coast, and I will never stop showing this because it's still as true today as it was the first time they did it.
Growing up, I loved fantasy, but I never saw myself as the hero because I didn't think it was possible for someone who looked like me, who acted like me, who was like me to be that hero.
Yeah,
How many times do you
yeah,
gotta
so-
address the fact that it's fantasy?
yeah. No, I mean, it's like she looks so much like a tiefling.
Wait, well, first of all, she's Asian. Shouldn't she be more intelligent than that? I mean, that's
And then
pretty-
didn't she play like the white druid in the tabletop
No, she
demo?
played the black druid. It was a black druid.
Right. Not the Asian druid.
Well,
Okay,
also,
just getting my stuff straight.
I mean,
right.
Asian cinema has been how huge for how long? Like, come on.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're changing the name of the monk points from key to spirit or something.
Spirit.
But they're
yeah.
still leaving them as martial arts Asian monks. In a
Well,
medieval fantasy
they're
setting.
trying to Europeanize them a little bit more.
Well, there's been of
It's
the
weird.
opinion the monk should have never become a core class. It clashes so much with what a lot of D&D is because it's just such a foreign concept.
If you want a holy fighting order, you've got paladins and clerics.
Yeah.
Well, if anything, they should have
Playing
put in
Templars
the
and
pugilist
Hospitallers.
class. There actually is a homebrew pugilist class for 5e, and it's awesome. It's like monks, but like more gritty and more like it's like street fighters and like dudes in the cities that do like underground like pit fighting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That
Oh, they
fits
already
way
got
more with
that.
D&D than monks.
Yeah, but
But
this
they
is
already
the
had that in
argument.
Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And it's the argument we've had for a really long time, right? You don't need it as a class. You need it as abilities that you can branch off of a fighter, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah. I was gonna say that it's like the main part of a good monk would be if you could, like for instance, with Sword Sage in 3.5, is they have different abilities. Okay, that's what I do. This is the ability I do. Whereas like monk, it's like, oh, it's flurry of blows. It's like, okay, what is involved in flurry of blows? Like give me some actual moves that I can use. Like I had a guy play a wrestler, and of course with 3.5, that's pretty much impossible. But he tried to do it anyways, and and the main thing was like, for him, he had to be more descriptive with his moves because there weren't any established, moves at all that he could use. So, like, I think that would be key for like a martial arts job. Is like, well, give me fucking different moves. Like, my kids are learning different moves in Taekwondo. They, like, how about we get some of that in a monk class?
Yeah, well, you already had it. Pathfinder First Edition. They had the Totori monk, which had all kinds of grappling ability and moves that they could do, and including special named moves and special named feats for special moves like Medusa's Crush and all that stuff. They had all manner of different martial arts types that you could combine in with a monk. So it was pretty much you could build any kind of monk you really wanted to. The only thing they stopped short of was actually being able to go full Kenshiro with the Fist of the North Star.
Yeah.
But of course, the chip monk.
Almost, but I mean, it's like the deal is, but for some reason, Paizo thought, oh, this is too complicated and overpowered. We can't do that, so we're gonna take all this shit out for Pathfinder 2 and just totally dumbfuck the game down.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
People running
Let's
over
waste this about key
to
points.
cover their asses like Paizo is some great white savior. I have some rather unfortunate news for you. It's the same crowd. They just happen to not work for Wizards of the Coast.
Right.
There's actually a lot of overlap.
Paizo in some ways paved the way, right? As far as this sparkly infiltration.
How long did they cling to Jessica Price and her edicts? But one thing I did want to jokingly mention, and then one serious thing, is I will pay $5 American. You can spend it however you want. You can invest it. You can invest half and spend half on something frivolous. $5 American is yours, viewers, fellow panelists, for a Photoshop of Crawford standing in front of a schoolhouse with a caption, I say no half races today, no half races tomorrow, no half races forever.
Oh dear, that would not go over well. Actually, I when I think of Crawford, I usually think of this right here. This is my particular take on Crawford usually.
You mean the head of the Grand Wizards of the Coast?
No.
I think of the onion head guy from Papa the Rapper.
Crawford is the most boring delivery person ever. I mean, it's like when he got up on the one D&D stuff. I want to talk to you about our friends, the druids, the elves. We want them to be the elfiest elves and the dwarfiest dwarves. And are you asleep yet? Good, because that's when I come in.
Yeah.
Well, the corporate guys always do really well, and boring guys always do really well in a corporate environment. They excel.
Hey,
because they're safe.
Was from the Bounding into Comics article, and people rightly focused on Crawford's baffling racism, but one thing that I think didn't get enough attention, and I should have, if I had been in better physical health, I might have been able to concentrate and focus on it a little bit better when I did the video. And it's this paragraph, and this is a quote. A couple, 2 or 3 people in the comments on my video came at me with, that's not what he said. That's not the context. You're being dishonest. This is rage. I'm like, no, it's not. It's actual quotes, not taken out of context. It's whole swaths of quotes. So I want it understood by my fellow panelists in the audience. Mm-hmm. This is a direct quote. Our team are game designers and storytellers. We're not experts in cultures and inclusions, he added. So we're focused on what damages creatures should do. That's why everything goes through inclusion review now. So everything in our game brings out delight. Even reprints are going through inclusion review. That's why some older books are changing too. Boys and girls, if you love classic Dungeons and Dragons for whatever value classic takes for you, and you don't have everything you want, and you don't want to raise the black flag, yo ho ho, get them now. Get them now, because Crawford just flat out said we are going full 1984.
Yes.
Right there. And if that doesn't scare the hell out of you, then I hope you have hermetically sealed vaults with backup copies of your books in them, because they're coming after it, hammer and tongs.
That was actually the one thing that disturbed me the most about everything I read, was we're going to go back and we're going to do revisionist history on all of our previous publications.
Yeah, and what concerns me is that they will stop publishing all the old stuff. You won't be able to get it at all. And for sure, if by chance you are still one of those people who likes and enjoys 5th edition D&D, and we're not saying you shouldn't, because as a system, it's not so bad. I mean, you know, you have to kind of play with it a little bit to make it work right, but you know, yeah. But if you like it, you better get as many copies as you think you will need for the future, because it's pretty obvious that they're gonna stop selling it once this 5.5 quote unquote drops.
Yeah.
Well, people are saying it's what they meant by that is like the 2014 5e stuff, but even that's bad enough. Leave that shit alone. I don't want them to change my 5e stuff. Like, I don't care if it's even just the 5e stuff. If they leave 4th edition and 3rd edition and 2nd edition and 1st edition alone, fine. But don't touch my 5e stuff either. I like that
it's
stuff.
all gonna be changed. Remember, I've already told you. I have an account with D&D Beyond. I don't pay them anything, but for a while, you know, I did pick up some of the books and stuff because we were playing 5th edition, and so I have those digitally. Well, everything that I bought digitally has been altered against my wishes because they updated all that stuff, and D&D Beyond stays current with all the newest updates from D&D. So that means
the same to me on Roll20.
Yeah, so all of your old D&D stuff, if you're just using D&D Beyond for your digital stuff, that's all going to be converted over to this new 5.5 system. You will lose everything.
Yeah, all your bases belong to us at that point.
You know, but Call Staff said something that I think should be absolutely highlighted, and that is, if they can do it to Agatha Christie and Roald Dahl, why not Gary Gygax?
Absolutely.
Because Gygax is an even easier target for the market that they're trying to appease.
Oh, they throw him under the bus every chance they get.
Yeah, they don't got a burner book; they just rewrite them.
Yeah.
You know, for example, the print-on-demand stuff from Drive-Thru, there are certain books they just flat out will not let you get a physical copy of. For example, the Oriental Adventures, which. However, there's one book on there that I'm surprised they do allow. That it's not a good book, but it's one that I'm surprised for some similar reasons that they do allow. The Etruscan Clans.
Ooh.
Because
that's racist against you.
Is that Caldwell? It looks like Clyde Caldwell.
It is Clyde Caldwell.
Yeah, that's Caldwell.
Well, Ironcaster, are you offended? You're our token Indian on the panel. So
I was
Native American.
What was that? I was
actually so token Indian.
Allegedly, I have some Indian in my past somewhere. My dirty Irish ancestors got it on with some dirty Indians.
I'm pretty sure if you're American, you have some Native American somewhere. Like in your
I thought
bloodline.
for a long time it was just like a boomer legend, like they all wanted to be Indian.
Well, Castor's a card-carrying member.
Yeah, I get the newspaper and everything.
Yeah, he gets casino money.
Nice. That casino money.
I would like to point out that I do not follow that category at all, because it turns out that I just found out a couple months ago that I don't even have 100 years worth of family history in this nation at all. I didn't even know that. It turns out that many generations of my family, stemming all the way down to me, was adopted out through the foster care system.
I want to address this really quick. Do people care if they stop making the old stuff? They gave up on D&D and TSR material the moment they were brainwashed by the OSR. You reap what you sow. I care because I don't own every single old module that was ever created back in the 80s and early 90s. And some of those are hard as hell to find.
My co-host sorry, Grim. I'll be quick.
Oh yeah, you go ahead.
He had a box of his original AD&D stuff. He was getting ready to move. It was in his basement. Pipe exploded. Basement flooded. He wants to be able to find that stuff for less than eBay scalping prices. You know,
Yes.
And if it's a print on demand, you hold your nose because you know dollars are going to wizards, but you're supporting what you love. And if that goes away, there is no way to get it. And even if you do sail the high seas, you still have to print it if you're like me. You know, I need the book.
Yeah.
Need the book. So, if it goes away, it does make a difference, Al.
Yeah.
I think you and me, T-shirt, you know, we're both you're more properly historian, but I guess I'm an amateur historian. But we look at it from that point of view as well, right? that these things just need to be preserved because they're historical documents. And certainly as a game designer, it is useful to me to read things from the past of the hobby to see how they went about things, how things have evolved, how things have changed. And even if these old things were bigoted, right, it would be useful to see that in context in the book, to see in what way it was, what the prevailing attitudes of the time were, what the prevailing fantasy tropes were. And you lose all that. And that's no good for anybody.
And sometimes it's plain hard to accept for some people, but the old stuff was better. Like I own Torg, and I own Torg Eternity. I like Eternity. Eternity is obviously easier to get a hold of, but do I like my original Torg better? Yes, by far. Same could be said for a lot of other things. Cyberpunk, the 2020 version is way better than the current one. I think we'd all agree.
I like
better than Red. Absolutely,
I like them both.
Flavor-wise, definitely.
Yeah. So
still better Red than Dead.
And one of the, I'm worried that you won't even be able to go on the internet to even research articles of showing where D&D started from or any of that stuff anymore. I've been actually researching this whole year, and part of last year, I've just been researching some of the first edition stuff because I was never exposed to first edition D&D. And I said one day, I don't know what happened, a couple months ago, I was like, I want to learn old style D&D.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I yeah. And I
see this guy here. This guy here is one of our last links to old D&D because he's actually met and talked to and gamed with a lot of the old creators and stuff. And let me tell you,
there's a few of us out here. There's a few here,
but you're getting fewer and fewer because age catches up with everybody, my friend.
Yes,
thank you. I'll see myself off the carousel now. Please don't call this.
See, even that reference shows your age.
Delver, yep. I've been trying to get your $5, but it keeps making Crawford a black man, and I think that it's hilarious that it does.
Wait, well, how does he identify?
So maybe it's trying to tell us something that we don't know.
Well, I send you half the money, but it would drive him into a rage.
You could send him 3/5.
Oh, a historical reference. How droll. Excuse me, Ironcaster, you deserve this. I'm sorry. That was good though, the 3/5 compromise. Yeah, we were just talking about that this week.
As far as D&D history goes, I mean, from Wizards' perspective, every record's been destroyed or falsified. Every game book is rewritten. Every illustration has been repainted, and every miniature and bit of terrain has been renamed, and every founding date of the game has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute.
It is, and matter of fact, I've got a really good example. I recently just started playing World of Warcraft again because I thought, well, it's been long enough. I think we're past the Blitzchung thing. It's been, I don't know, 6 years or so since I've played it. Let's try it again and see what's new. So started leveling up a character and went to my favorite place over in Tirisafal Glades, and of course there's a whole lot of stuff that's been changed, but what got me was one of my favorite quest lines. Certain pieces of dialogue have been cut, and I remember them very well. I'm not having a Mandela effect, because I do distinctly recall Garrosh Hellscream calling the Banshee Queen a bitch.
Oh yeah, no, they cut that. That was like a huge deal a couple years ago.
Yeah, they cut that. But they also cut out like some more innocent stuff in there too, just stuff that was just like like fart jokes and things like that. And I'm just kind of like, why did you cut this? Like there's a point where there's a peon that you overload him full of boxes and stuff, And at one point, he literally screams out, "This hurt like time poop came out sideways." And I used to love that line. I used to laugh my ass off every time he would say that. Well, guess what? That's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm kind of like, well, what else did you guys cut in the time I've been gone? I mean, I already knew about the portraits change.
Everything is fruit baskets now.
What?
Everything is like paintings of fruit now, where they used to have the lovely ladies painted.
Ah.
They've probably got chaperones in Goldshire now to stop people fucking.
Not only that, but the ladies that are lovely in the game have had wardrobe changes too, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I haven't played a lot of the female characters, so I haven't noticed in particular. I mean, but
do they have penises now?
I didn't check. I didn't, like I said, I hadn't rolled up a female tune yet. I mean, I
assume they will.
Check for traps.
Yeah, check for traps.
So I play WoW, and I've been going to the new expansion, and like literally half the quests are about like, oh, help this gay couple, buy like a gift for the other guy in the couple. And, like,
are you
like
serious?
That. Yeah, like there's like a whole quest line, and it takes like literally like 40 minutes to complete, where you just have to like get 2 gay centaurs married. And they're just like burly centaurs with like beards and stuff, and they're like, yeah, I want to marry this dude.
Oh, you just said 2 gay centaurs. Give me a second to digest.
I was going to say, how does that work?
I just want to see them spooning.
Which one's the top? Which one's the top, Victor?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really check beneath, so. Cabbage, so to say.
Well, we know how Catherine the Great died, right? So.
Yeah. Well, centaurs, they can handle it. They're built for it.
Spicy.
But that's the shitty thing though, because the gameplay, like as far as like this new expansion goes, the gameplay is like really good. The leveling is fun. Like they did a really good job with the mechanics and stuff like that. So it's like I'm having fun playing it, but then it's just like all that other shit is like really annoying.
And shout out to Snowdub.
Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
They're centaurs, so that's called shoveling. I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head now.
It's called clopping.
Clopping. Oh my god. So God, well, let's see what else. What other changes they were making?
Well,
I guess we hit most of the big ones.
Sorry to interrupt. I just went back to Final Fantasy 14 online after like 8 years of being away, and I'll say I haven't seen anything crazy in that. No insane changes, other than they made the game more quick to get through. So if you don't, if you want to do an MMO and you don't want to do WOTC, check out Final Fantasy 14. Maybe it's because it's Japanese, based. I don't know.
Yeah, instead of taking 700 hours to get through the storyline, it takes only 500 hours now.
Right.
Jesus Christ! Like I was like so bored with that storyline eventually, and all my friends are like they're like finished all the expansions, doing like all the high level raids and shit, and I'm like three expansions back, like talking to NPCs and listening to fucking Final Fantasy politics for an hour. Fucking hate that shit.
It's just like it is legitimately like a really good game. It's just that the core game is dog water.
Yeah.
Okay. L has managed to bring up something that just kind of like hit me in the brain suddenly. Okay. So yeah, we know Shadow Dark was $1 million and all that, but we also know that it's based on 5e. We also know that Victor's work is based on 5e. We know that Gene Funk is based on 5e. That Carbon is based on 5e. Ares was based on 5e. Now it's going to be based on Castles and Crusades. But here's the thing. It's all based on the 2014 5e. It's not based on 5.5. How is this going to change those things? I mean, if those older books are required to play these, you're fucked.
As the purveyor of tinfoil on the panel, I have a theory.
Yes. I mean, I'm willing to
lost the big OGL battle. There's no doubt about it. they lost because they got hit from all sides. This is their way to implement the changes that were in that original draft by changing the core game that all of the stuff was written on. And now, moving forward, the new stuff is going to have to fall in line with whatever document, release, licensing agreement, blah, 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 that they put forward. So this is a constructed loss, right? They knew that they weren't going to win on the PR front with the OGL, so they circled the wagons, and many of the changes that we're going to see might not have happened were it not for the need to obsolete the independent works that were tied to 2014's 5th edition.
Not only that, but how is it going to affect things like live plays and stuff going forward if they start modifying the rules? I mean, how is this going to affect your game, Grim, if they suddenly release a 5.5? Are all your players going to have to shift up to that? Or
I don't know what we'll do. Cross that bridge when we come to it. But to chase the audience, we'll probably have to update to some degree.
Yeah.
Or offer a conversion kit or something. Everybody's going to be screwed.
Yeah.
I'm curious what they're going to do with Baldur's Gate 3, because Baldur's Gate 3 is very much based on 2014 D&D, or 5e rather. And
They'll
it's not
patch
even
it.
out yet. It's still in like alpha. So like, yeah, are they gonna like take like an extra 6 months to just like turn it into one D&D, or are you just gonna like release it as is? And it's like this weird like fucking like limbo game where it's like not fully like accurate anymore to the actual experience. Like I don't know.
Well, the nice thing with a video game, Vic, is they can change what they need to on the surface, but leave the stuff behind the scenes still in place. So they can effectively hose it down with 5.5 juice.
Okay, Rogue Scholar, I know that it's not going to change the documents in the Creative Commons, but here's the thing. Let's say they go ahead and release this new D&D 5.5, as I'm calling it, in, let's say, 2025, okay? At that point, Darkity Dark and everything else is out, right? If your players... If they stop printing the book and they convert everything over to 5.5, newer players who want to play Shadow Dark are not going to be able to play it unless they are somehow able to find the Creative Commons documents and use those. And think about how awkward that's going to be. First off, if you don't have access to those books, you're going to have to either find scalpers, or you're going to have to print these documents out, or somehow find a way to research them and back channel them in order to build your new game. And that goes for all the other products that were built on 5th edition rules, because the rule book's going to disappear.
Or never reappear in the same format, because the same thing they're going to do with the older stuff. We already talked about that today.
So it's a problem. And they've kind of screwed everybody with that. So it's a good job. Oh man.
I think the biggest thing for me is that their VTT doesn't look like it will be particularly customizable, because it looks really heavily automated. And I'm
so
yeah, and I'm like a mechanic. I like to fiddle with the bits and pieces behind the scenes in games and rules, and shift them and alter them and do different things with them. And it doesn't seem like that's really something you'll be able to do very easily. It's already hard enough on things like Roll20, and they actually have the capacity to do it.
Plus, I don't think Wizards would want anyone to do that. They seem to be... I mean, they say they're trying to do this for promote creativity, but it seems like they're becoming more and more restrictive on what they put out there, and then they want you to restrict you on what they put out there.
Yeah.
This is a miniature I worked on. I think I did a pretty good job.
Nice.
It did not have this base originally. It had just a regular old flat base, just like that, with no features, no terrain. So I actually bought a customized base, built it up the way I wanted to, and replanted this figure on top of it. That's something I can do because I can do this at my table. With your VTT, you're probably not going to be able to do that.
Well, 99 cents for the new base.
Yeah.
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 But will it look like what you want?
Oh,
That's what I was trying to say last week. Like 3D virtual tabletops aren't new. We had that in 2002 technically with Neverwinter Nights, but the difference was Neverwinter Nights was very customizable. You could make your own adventures, your own campaigns, your own modules, import your own models. Fucking can't talk. Like you know, put like you could do whatever you wanted to if you like were a coder or you know you knew fucking 3D modeling or whatever. And yeah, they're not gonna allow it with this. It's all gonna be in their hands. It's like, oh, you want a different beard? Buy the beard pack for $4.99. Like, so yeah. And that's what we should focus on, not the fact that it's like a 3D virtual tabletop. Like, yeah, like I said, those aren't anything new. It's just that they're gonna fucking ruin it and just.
Well, Rogue Scholar, that's the thing. They're pushing the VTT. See, originally I thought, wow, that would have been a license to print money if they would have acquired Hero Forge and had a full-on 3D printing customization service for their figures to go along with the tabletop game. But now it looks like they're so heavily invested in that VTT that they're just going to bypass the tabletop game totally. I mean, you saw that video if you were here last week, and those people were all sitting around the table staring into their laptops.
Yeah.
There was a full set of dice. There was a map board, everything right there in front of them for them to use. They could have dropped some miniatures on the board and played on the board. Instead, they're all glued to their little fucking screen and not really, interacting beyond the fact that there just happened to be a DM in the room with them.
See,
that's not how it's going to be used, though. Sorry, go on.
Laptops at the table like this is certainly nothing new. About 10, 15 years ago when I was first getting into playing the games with Tabletop Junkie, that was kind of the way we had done things, because in part half the players were just like, I don't want to do the math of like making character sheets. Can I just get an app that does it for me, with just a PDF file? It's ultimately nothing truly revolutionary they're doing ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, like we have a full library of the 3.5 because we still play 3.5 at my table. Like we have a full library of 3.5 digitally, So although sure I've got about 20 books or so physical, we have every book digital, from 3.5. I'm pretty sure every. And so like and a couple of the players, like if we have a huge amount of dice to roll, somebody will pull out a dice generator and roll it like that. But so like computers and laptops and phones and all that stuff is fine. But like when you have the visual part of it on computer, it's more of a video game. I mean, like I play, we play Theater of the Mind and all that and dry erase boards, but there's nothing wrong with like miniatures and stuff too. I think that when you go from physical, like as a group experience over a table talking and interacting and stuff and turning it into screen time, no, dude.
No.
Well, I think that
give me just a sec, guys. I want to address this really quick.
Sure.
Okay. Elle says, I've been saying for months, stop buying willy-nilly OSR just because you like Victor or the Basic Expert. No offense, but buy from the POD store while you can if you want the older stuff. To that, I say, bullshit, because I've been doing both. Okay? Anytime Basic Expert offers a print on demand, and he does, I buy his print on demand. If Victor offered print on demand, I'd buy that. Actually, he does have a product on Kickstarter that's coming out print on demand, I believe, aren't you?
Yeah, it's almost done. Yeah,
so I'm buying that print on demand. We're not buying willy-nilly OSR just because we like him. We are buying PODs while we can because we know that the stuff is going to go away. So I'm not really sure what you're on about.
He said Lime Victor, and like I don't know, that's kind of weird. I'm not tequila. Don't lime me.
Are you suddenly British?
Yeah. Also, to be fair, like not to toot my own horn, but I make games that you can use with other games. You can take my Modern Necessities and run it with those old school modules. You can take Isle of Dread and run it with Modern Necessities. I'm not trying to usurp. I'm trying to add on. So.
Well, I don't think it needs to be a zero-sum game. I mean, there's a lot of people out there putting out shameless plug for some friends of mine, but Heidi Gygax, Eric, and her husband Eric. Heidi is Gary's daughter. Well, guess what? She's in the tabletop RPG publishing business, and they have put out 2 modules. And I went and I was at GaryCon, and I played with them. That's worth picking up. You don't have to say, well, it's this or a copy of G123 on print on demand. You can do both.
Yeah, you can do both.
And I mean, if you're on a limited budget and you're worried about the availability of one, get that one first. But you can do both. But one thing to the technology I was going to mention, this gets a little propeller headed. So if you have to step on my mic because I go off into the ether, I apologize. But their virtual pacifier that just come up with uses UE4. UE4's internal objects are all .obj format. .obj format can be read by STL slicing software. So if you got a 3D printer, whether it's resin or FDM, or you have access to 3D printing services, a clever person might dig through their library of dungeons and collections of monsters and just start knocking out actual physical copies. Maybe that's something positive that could come out of having the VTT. I'm just saying.
I think it's to Unreal 5. I don't know if the same thing will still apply and still be applicable for that, but just
it's UE5. Well, I mean, still, .obj is .obj, and even if it's not, there are web services, and by web services, I just mean like random websites. I don't mean like, subscribe and pay a lot. You can be like, man, and here's a perfect example. Okay, for Cold War micro armor, nobody, as far as I could tell, made the Sergeant York DVAD anti-aircraft gun. And I wanted one for my Twilight 2000 games. Well, I found one that somebody had made as a free asset for video games, but it was in like 3ds Max format. And that's not a format that 3D printers can read. So one Google search, 3ds to OBJ, drag and drop your file here. We'll do it. Boom, boom. Made a few alterations so it would print up nicer, and done. The point being is, if you find yourself shackled to this Diablo Sans that degree of interactivity that Wizards of the Coast has come up with, you can at least you can make lemonade. You can, if there are .obj files stored in there, and you want a nice set of dungeon tiles, you don't have to worry about sculpting them because there they are already. And the same with monsters and whatnot and what have you. I don't know. That sounded a lot more clever in my head than it actually came out being. But
I get even if you can't unpack them, there's going to be someone within 12 hours that unpacks them and uploads them. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. They're like, aha, we'll stick the inside of a WAD type file. Yeah, no, that stuff's coming out like that.
Yep.
And there'll be 100 dungeons in the shape of a penis within half an hour of it launching.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hope. I would absolutely hope.
That's going to be the first thing I do if I ever get a hold of that. But
where's Gargrove?
That's a short dungeon. That's a short dungeon.
Oh, and L, yeah, I understand those are local examples without naming Jeff Talanian and Matt Finch and Chris Connerman and all that. I know that, but I have all those guys' books too. Okay, you could buy both. You totally can.
Well,
that's fine.
That's what I think the beauty is of the OSR. It's like all for the most part compatible. You can literally run like an old module with Hyperborea.
Hang on a second. I'm backing you up. No, go ahead and keep talking.
Okay.
Well, I'm done.
Well, okay. Well, we'll see. This is a perfect example. Castles and Crusades. I backed up the latest Codex, Codex Sindarum, which is supposed to be their Eastern Asian supplement. You know, for like the Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, that sort of thing. And they included a pretty decent size list of gods and beasts and stuff. The book's not complete, but they've included so much stuff in it. And I was just telling Grim not too long ago, I said, you know, I really wish that there was a bestiary for Scarlet Heroes that had more Southeast Asian monsters in it, because the numbers that we have are really cool, but they're kind of limited because most of them are the same kind of monster in that they're all trickster monster type things. There's a lot less, heavies and stuff like that to deal with. It's pretty much you're going to deal with most of the monsters all the same way. Well, lo and behold, Codex Sindarum delivered. Now I have a ton of new Asian themed monsters that I'm going to be able to drop into Scarlet Heroes, and I really won't have to do a whole lot of work because it's Castles and Crusades kind of works with, OSR so well that, it just fits. So
How many hit dice does Connie Chung have?
I'll have to introduce her as a special NPC. I'll have to actually build her up. She's going to be the high priest of the God Beast cult, I guess.
She will try to sleep with us, Grim. Just so you know.
The good thing we're honest men of the cloth.
That's right.
Good Christian for players over here.
Should be Wu Jin.
But no,
quick, fill it.
That was a good pause.
I couldn't. I can't find it, but the module that Heidi and Eric put out, it's got, compatible with first edition, 5th edition, OSR. It looks like an AD&D module. I love it to pieces.
I'm sure I could come up with something worse, L.
And I'm sure it is spectacular, Delver, but everything is compatible with anything for a half decent DM, right?
True.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science to convert A to B.
It's baked into the module. I'm just pointing it out. But you're 100% right. I mean, I've sold off most of it, but I used to. There's a lovely, lovely little used bookstore that's not there anymore. Unfortunately, it was literally right around the corner from me, and the nice little lady who ran it just kept a box of stuff, of RPG stuff, when people would come and say it and give me first right of refusal, which is how I wound up with a true first print Dungeon Master's Guide and Monster Manual. But that's another story. But I used to grab just the weirdest, most esoteric nonsense. Like I had one of the little digest-sized rules booklet from the Yizgarth role-playing game for the longest time, just in case I wanted something from it, Yeah.
And that is the period at the end of the sentence for this point, right? We can buy Victor's Modern Necessities and still buy something if we want to pick up a Wizard's product, buy a Wizard's product. I'm one of the ones that screams from the rooftops, look for other things. But if you love stuff, you love stuff. And if you don't like stuff, you don't like stuff too. It's your choice. I have Fate over there. I'm never going to play it again, but I have it, right? So no one's saying don't. Okay, I'll say don't buy this because it's principled. But everybody can really buy whatever the hell they want, and they can incorporate it at their table however the hell they want.
Yeah.
And let's not nostalgia bait too hard, because I mean, let's be 110% honest. I mean, even Delver will agree with me on this, and he's an even bigger old school fan than I am. Not every single module created back in the 70s and 80s is a winner. Okay, they had duds too.
Yeah. And Gary wrote some of them. I don't like Land Beyond the Magic Mirror, not one bit. You can say I'm a soulless assassin of joy, but it's not a very good module. And one thing I would mention, just regarding not giving things a try, a look. To go back to Gary, not many people know this, but there is a there's like an add-on to S4, Lost Caverns of Sochcon. Where? In the Slayer's Guide to Dragons, a book that Gary wrote that is for 3.5 edition D&D. And it's only there. Okay, so if you want a little additional stuff to add to your Lost Caverns of Sochcon romp, which you should play that module, regardless of what you're using, you should play that module.
Yeah.
That's the only place you can get it. But if you turn up your nose at everything 3.5, you're going to miss out on a piece of actual Lost Caverns of Sochcon, which means Greyhawk lore. So,
well, El, I mean, just the fact is, most of us love the OSR. We love the old school games. We like old D&D and stuff like that. I mean, some of us have played 5th edition or do run 5th edition, but I don't think anybody on this panel is just willing to, suck WOTC's dick that hard in order for us to get 1,000 subs or more, or 200 people in chat. So, it's just
not for an airplane ticket and $300. No way.
Yeah. Well, we're also not part of Geeks and Gamer, which is a huge platform.
Yeah, they're a huge platform to begin with.
I'm further away. The plane ticket makes the dick sucking slightly more tempting.
Just pretend it tastes like strawberries.
If they paid us more, might consider it, right?
Tell her to eat pineapple first.
And truthfully, they served asparagus the night before.
Yes.
So,
that's nasty. Oh, asparagus ain't so bad. Anyway, I just want to point.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to point out, as soon as Wizards went down the road that they went, I moved over to a different gaming company, and I got a new go-to game. I'm teaching a bunch of people right now.
Yeah,
very cool.
Castles and Crusades has really been impressive so far with their support for schools, for veterans. The sheer fact, they sell their stuff almost at cost all the time. It seems like, because they're always running specials on everything, so they definitely want people to buy their stuff.
And they're cool. They're really cool people. They had an incident with me. I placed an order and they sent me completely wrong books. And I said, hey guys, I didn't order this. What do you guys want me to do with it? They said, you're good. Keep those. We're sending yours right now. We are terribly sorry. They actually found out on their end what they made a mistake on, because I just said, hey, you guys made a mistake. They said, we'll contact you. Well, it turns out the guy who actually did the packaging said, don't need to contact me. I know what mistake I made. I'm sorry. He sent me my books, and I was like, they're really cool people over there. They're for their fans, they're for their customers, and you know what? They have the same values I do. Keep politics out of gaming. You're here to have fun.
Yeah, they're a really good group. They're a really good group. I got a friend here locally who runs a D&D group for youth, and they just sent him like a whole pile of books, Castle and Crusades books. It was like, here, here you go. Just didn't even really, they just contacted him and said, hey, we're going to send you a bunch of stuff because they heard about it. And
same with
Crossface. They're really cool.
Many of you know him, I'm sure, from Twitter. He runs a 5e game for high school, but they're switching to Castles and Crusades, and Troll Lord completely set them up with like a whole series of books and everything.
Crossface.
That's what I'm talking about.
Crossface, isn't he that young splaining little sumbitch?
Yeah, we all are. We're just a bunch of young splainers.
I will say,
I like Crossface.
Yeah, I do
I've
too.
talked with.
Well, you're coming on the
David.
show next Tuesday.
Sorry, I've talked with Davis from Troll Lord Games a few times. He's been on my show.
Yeah.
And the guy is like, I'll tell you, his energy is like the mad artist, not like angry, but like the mad genius artist who's kind of like has wispy hair out here, and like that's his energy. Like he's constantly on an adventure, and but he does mean well, and that's cool. Yeah, I'm not surprised that he's done any of that charity stuff at all.
He's not quite Raven CS McCracken level, but he's pretty up there.
And who among us is?
I met Davis on your channel, Mortal Rising, I think first, and I've met him a few times now. And the second time he jumped in and he was like, "Oh, hey, Victor," And I played it like all cool. It was like, hey, Davis.
That's
But
a
meanwhile,
great-
internally, I was like, woo, he knows my
Yeah.
name.
You guys,
Dude, I'll tell
You
you.
guys
So
are
I didn't
gods.
tell
Okay.
these guys. I
I
didn't tell
love that.
Iris Chronicles or Victor that Davis was going to be on from Troller Games. They didn't know. Like they
Yeah.
saw, hey, did you tweet that out and included Troller Games? Like, yeah, because he was in the backstage, but he had got up to go do something. I was like, I was like, yeah, that's whatever. And then he sat down. They're like, no, and they totally fangirled. It was great.
Yeah.
It was cute, and then we had a great show. But but to surmise, Davis and Troller Games, they get thumbs up, man. I think gonna switch. I think I'm going to encourage my table to switch to Castles and Crusades. One, it sounds simpler, and two, I like the guys. Like, why not?
And it's very fun. I've got into it almost a year ago now, and I've been into it. I started back in June of last year. So yeah, it's I'm already 9-10 months in. I'm approaching my first year anniversary of getting into Castles and Crusades.
Yeah.
And I have not been disappointed to this day. And I worship those guys because they are awesome.
Just good dudes, yeah.
Yep. You guys all have a great night. I have to book it. You guys.
All right, Tabletop. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
I'm almost completely gassed myself. I'm still not well. But can I give two quick shout outs before I blaze two?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, there's a young man. I met him at Gary Con, and I say young man. I mean, I got shirts older than this guy. He's the Vile Necromancer. He's on YouTube. He's just started a little YouTube channel, and he is just an incredibly enthusiastic young man who loves first edition AD&D. He is apparently a fan of my stuff I do on YouTube, and I bumped into him at Gary Con, and he is a great guy. So you should definitely check out his channel on YouTube. And the other shout out, believe it or not, is L. L keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, he does.
In comments and in the live stream. So anyway, yeah, I'm sorry guys. I just this damn virus has just got a hold of me, and I'm going to be going face forward here in just a minute, so I'm not going to be a lot of fun. But thank you for having me on, T-shirted. I appreciate it.
Hey, you bet. You bet. Absolutely, man. You always have an open seat on this channel, Delver.
Hey, I'm sorry. I have a question before you go, Delver.
Yes.
So you were at Gygax, right? You were at the Gygax Con. Did you see run into Blackmore Film? They did the D&D.
Yeah, Griff. Yeah, I got a picture with Griff and everything.
Yeah, that's cool. He told me he was going to be there. It's like 3 or 4 hours from where I'm at, and I really wanted to go, but I couldn't with my schedule. I was working crazy overtime. So, but that's cool. I'm glad that you guys like had met and know each other. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on. I'll talk to y'all later.
Take care.
Yeah, nice
Get well,
meeting you.
man.
Later.
Yeah, we've had Griff on this show too. We also had Steven Chenault. We haven't had Davis, but we had Steven. And
I haven't met Steven yet.
Steven's really cool. And we had Mark Reinhagen twice.
Not
I don't know who that is.
that.
Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
It's like nobody ever remembers who he is. God damn it,
Oh
Griff.
yeah, I know exactly who he is.
I made some fans really jealous with that I was on the stream with him because they're huge vampire fans. They actually do like the live action shit. They're part of like the societies and all that stuff.
Whoa.
So yeah.
I didn't even think about that scene for a long time. I guess it's still going on, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but they're very like I hear horror stories. They're very woke, very just like lots of like cliques and power trips and all sorts of awful shit going on.
No, it was always like that, but it's a lot smaller now and a lot more vicious.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
Yeah,
everybody knows my big checkbox, my big bucket for my bucket list. The big guy I want on my show is still Mike Pondsmith. So if I ever get him on the show, man, I think I can go to my grave and I'll be happy. If it doesn't happen and I die first, I'm probably going to go haunt him. I'm saying that now. Why didn't you come on the show? All I wanted was to say hello.
You gotta shake chains when you do it.
Yeah. Autograph my cyberpunk book, you bitch. Pelting him with old copies of Cyberpunk 2020 in his sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, throw Cyberpunk version 3 at him. Those.
Oh God, no. I won't. That would be like my the thing that repels me, like holy water and stuff like that. That's no. But anyway, let's turn things around and kind of make it cool and positive for a little bit, just to end out our show, because we don't want to be like shitheads the entire time. So Aaron, Immortal Comics.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Aaron.
Yeah, show your stuff, dude. Tell me what you got working on. What are you working on?
All right. Well, so right now I have launched the Immortal Rising comic #1. That's on Indiegogo. So you can go there. If you would like, I can pull up some and share some, some promo art. 1 second. Actually, you know what? Let me try. Man, my computer kind of bogs down. So let me try to pull up the link. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, yeah, where's the link, baby? We'll put the link up for you. We want to show you.
Let me.
Comics? Who even still reads comics?
Yeah.
What are we, a bunch of nerds?
No, we don't read comics. No.
There we go.
I think all of us are comic book nerds.
Yeah, I'm on a Friday night stream to talk about comics.
There you go.
Well, and that's something that I've been trying to pull together is these different communities, like comics, the tabletop guys, as well as there's also a community called Iron Age that do pulp and novels and stuff. So I've been actively trying to pull the OSR and Iron Age and Comicsgate together, because I think that everything overlaps, and that's a market that other people may not even know exists. Like I've already encountered that where I start talking about the OSR, and then they're like, "Wait a minute, what's that?" And I'm like, I have to explain, old school Renaissance and get into it in a little bit. And so like they're like, "Oh, cool," because they didn't even know that OSR was a thing, which is fine, but you got to let them know. And with the overlap, like everybody, if we were all in the same hobby store, it would make more sense. But since we're spread out across the internet, it's harder to kind of track down, So here's the link to my Indiegogo in the private chat. So
okay,
I just passed y'all on to Nick Weiser to work something out. See about getting you on for a comic stream.
Oh, awesome!
Nice.
Yeah. Let me know. I have the first up until about the 18th is pretty packed, but I'm cool with trying to do whatever. I've done 2 or 3 streams a day already, so whatever it takes, right? Yeah. That is my trailer. If you'd like to play the trailer, if you want to go through the campaign page, whatever you like to do, but I think you guys are going to dig it.
All right, let's do that.
Music's kind of loud.
So. It's on YouTube. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
we can do something
on my
like this.
YouTube channel.
It's on your YouTube channel. Okay, hang on a minute. We'll do something better than just show it on the tiny screen.
If you were really funny, you would copyright strike T-shirts for playing this.
That's true. You could do that to me, and I would be.
It's royalty free, and I don't know. Does that mean I have a copyright because I've used it so much? I'm not sure how that works.
I don't know. Let's see. All right, now we're gonna put it on the other screen. Wow, that's Oh, that's some nice girl art right there.
Mommy.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Dang it. All right, let's try this. Okay. That is a frickin' Castlevania callback if I've ever seen one.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I agree.
Nice.
Yeah. Like the color. In a game of life and death, the final battle between good and evil.
You need Bragg to do the voice.
Guaranteed. We totally do. We totally do. Hang on. Let me see if I can. Maybe I can.
In the world.
Get Bath Matt.
I'll get Bath Matt to do it. Lord Bath Matt, can you do a voiceover real quick? We just need you for about like 5 seconds over here.
God damn it, T-shirt, I'm busy. Come on. In a game of life and death.
There it is.
The final battle between good and evil. Survival was never guaranteed.
All right.
Immortal Rising and the Knights of Locutus. Freeload sign up on Indiegogo now.
Well, it is live now, so I suppose I should change that.
Yes, you totally should. That looks cool. How long you got on that? Let me see. Well, let me see. I've got the thing right up here. You have 25 days left.
Yes. Yeah, I just launched Monday, so we're just under halfway. And just to buy the book, to get the physical book, to get the PDF and the early bird card, because there is an early bird card in the first 2 weeks, it's $20. So plus shipping, whatever your shipping is. Shipping is low because I have a great distributor, and so I get nice low shipping rates. So if somebody is out of the country, don't make that hinder your choices on buying this for sure.
Is that a hint?
So a couple of the well, maybe, I'm not sure what the shipping is, but yeah, it won't be as expensive as it normally should be. So
this is pretty cool.
The book may take a little bit longer, but it's finished. First of all, the artwork is of course gorgeous. It's about the first story, because it's 2 stories. The first story is 34 pages, and the second story is 10. So the first story is like a survival story of 5 strangers, right, put together, and it's your basic kind of party. You have like a ranger, cleric. So I don't want to give it away, but they're I'm actually going to update the site because it's missing a couple of things. So but like I didn't highlight the characters. This being my first campaign, I'm still kind of figuring out what I'm doing. But so I'm going to highlight the characters a little bit better. Anyways, the idea is it's a survival story. You don't know who's going to live or who's going to die, just like a good D&D game. And that's the first story. The second one is a 10-page one, and that's like follows the gods. And you see their choices and how it reflects on the main story, which is more like the first level guys, right? So it's pretty cool because you see there's like a meta story, and you get to see it at 2 different levels. You get to see it at the high level, and then the first level. So
nice
level.
level.
Level. Cool. Well, there you go, guys. There's the link. Threw that out in a chat, and posted it up on the thing so you can see it. And gotta wait for my paycheck, but I think I think I can afford $20 to bankroll this. So
most of it is done in add-ons. So like in total, there's 2 sets of 4 cards. So there's 8 cards that you can buy, and with the early bird, you get the full 9. So you get a full sheet of cards if you get in on the early bird. There's also the PDF version of a sketch copy of the 34 pages of the main story. That is because a lot of artists tend to want. They've asked my artist for like sketch copies of his work, so he's like, "Hey, just put the whole thing up." I'm like, I agree. So then you can color it, you can finish the lines, you can shadow it however you like, or just see how he approaches his work, which is pretty cool. So
Nice.
yeah, and that's a PDF. It's only $5 as well. If you just want to go for the $5 route, you got the $5 PDF version of the book, which is going to be 44 pages at least. There'll be additional artwork because when you print it out, they have to be done in like 4-page increments. So it'll round out and it'll be gorgeous. You'll love it. Everything about it.
I like it. I mean, it's a vampires, it's gods, it's Dracula homage. Obviously, there's a lot of homages in it.
Yeah, it's very much like the dark fantasy of Castlevania meets epic fantasy of Final Fantasy. So
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Get behind that. I can see Ironcaster's already excited about it.
I was seeing little touches of like kind of the Warhammer sort of aesthetic with like big giant pauldrons and all that, and like it's definitely got my attention.
That's the God story. That's actually the one that the artist loves to do because he is like a lot of artists are like, oh, I don't want to do that page. It's got all those lines. He's like, give me more lines. And he's very abstract in his approach to a lot of his art, but he doesn't go crazy with it. It looks abstract, but it all makes sense. Right. And it's so fun. And I will say that this is not a one-off. Like if this doesn't do enough or whatever, there won't be a number 2. Number 2 is already 95% done. So
nice.
The main point of number 1 is any extra over top of the cost of shipping and all that stuff is going to go straight into making number 3. So, and it is a three act arc. So it'll be 3 issues. And this is the first act of that arc. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll say this much: is like I have not bought a single Marvel or DC comic in almost 3 years now.
Exactly.
But I am still buying comics. I'm just buying them from Indiegogo or from Kickstarter because the independents are the only way to go.
Now, I want to say, since you're talking about Indiegogo and Kickstarter, if you don't like them, because I know, all right, so in Indiegogo, in the Comicsgate community, right, like that's the outcast, misfits kind of community in indie comics, they shadow ban. Indiegogo is notorious last year shadow banning the shit out of comic creators. So
Mike Barron.
There we go. Yeah. So one of them, Luke Stone, and a few of his team came up with Fund My Comic. Now, Fund My Comic, it's a new crowdfunding site that is not just about comics, and do a little plug for them because it's worth it. But they if you are a creator and you're posting your stuff on there, they take they take less than Indiegogo does. So it's like 2% or 3% instead of like 5%. I don't know all their numbers, so don't quote me. They're not paying me to say any of this. But also, they're trying to branch out. They have also for games. So, like, there you go. So, if you want to get into some D&D stuff, like you don't want to deal with drive-through RPG, and you want to put your things up, put it on Fund My Comic. And if you've got music, maybe do indie music, put it on Fund My Comic. Writing pulp novel, put it on there as well. So, and it's trying to replace all of the bad parts of Kickstarter. Like Kickstarter and Indiegogo don't focus on these markets and these genres. So, Fund My Comic is trying to do that.
So, what do you say, Grim? Whitechester 2.0 on Fund My Comic? You muted.
Maybe after I have a couple more years to recover. Do they take PayPal on there?
I don't know. I will just say that look into them. If it's at all interesting for you or to you, then it's worth talking to them. Their customer support is right on, especially for creators. Like this is so brand new. They're hungry to do whatever it takes to get it going and make it successful. So
pretty cool. Speaking of Kickstarter, I was actually surprised to find out that Grim likes this as much as I do, or at least almost as much as I do, and Ryan does too, apparently to some degree. But yeah,
you say feet pics, I'm gonna kill you.
Well, damn it! I was gonna show off the foot fetish site, but okay.
Okay.
I did take that bathtub picture a couple weeks ago.
There you go. You go. No, actually, what I was going to say is, not too long ago, I showed the trailer for Zombicide White Death, and that launched this week.
Oh,
and yeah, they're already well over 1 million,
Damn.
and still in climbing with 10,000 backers, and they still got 18 days to go.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is. Oh yeah, this is
built-in audience where you have the zombies who are going to go and devour everything that company puts out for this game.
There's a huge fan base for anything. Come on, too, right? So
yeah. But I like this one because it is an add-on to Black Plague, and they do have some new rules for Black Plague that are added to it.
I think Black Plague is the better version, to be honest.
I like second edition, but I like Black Plague too, and they've kind of made it a little closer to second edition with this, but not entirely. Just by changing up some of the rules and things, adding in some new rules.
And hey, you can always use more zombie miniatures.
and the actual survivor miniatures are really cool. If you kickstart, you get these six right here, and then you get these guards, which are also kind of nice. And then, you get tons and tons of zombies. But only from the Kickstarter can you get the Lacuna Coil survivors. So they made miniatures out of the band Lacuna Coil and gave them all stats and everything. So that's cool as hell to me because I like Lacuna Coil.
That's cool.
I honestly think they would have been years ago, back when what the hell's the name of that band that Amy Lee Evanescence? When Evanescence was making it big, I was telling my friend, I said, "Man, Lacuna Coil is every bit as good as Evanescence, and they've been out longer." I said the only reason they have not hit mainstream popularity like Evanescence is because they're Italian. Seriously. Huh. But they still have a big following, and I think that is cool as hell. And look at all the stretch goals they're knocking down.
Lacuna Coil is a better band.
I agree. I agree.
100%. 100%. I started with Evanescence, and then I discovered Lacuna Coil. And I was like, I love Amy Lee. She's on my list, but no.
They got 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 unlocks so far. So this is 29 extra miniatures you get along with the Kickstarter for $110.
Nice.
So this is only going to be through the Kickstarter, and these are some cool looking miniatures, man. Some of them are based on actual people. Some of them are based on historical figures from Chinese legends and mythology. We got 3 more daily unlocks because they do an unlock every day that the campaign is going on. So you got an 18 figures guaranteed are going to be coming out.
And how much is it?
It's 110 for the Frozen Fortress pledge, which is their base pledge. And they've already got their first add-on available, which their add-on looks cool. Let me get down to it.
The problem is I don't know what shelf I could put this box on.
You have to find, at this point, you will have to have 3 boxes because you will have the main box, you'll have the Kickstarter box, and then you're going to have this box. This is the Eternal Empire box. This is the add-on. It's got 6 new survivors. It adds a new chi mechanic to the game. It also adds campaign play, which is something that Black Plague has never had before. That was introduced in 2nd edition, and now they're moving it over to Black Plague. And I think this is cool as hell. I haven't seen it. Berserker Walkers. Okay, look at this. There's more crap for me to put on there now, damn it. Okay.
So what's all in? Do they have an all-in pledge, or is everything just add-ons?
Everything is add-ons right now, but they're going to do an all-in before it's all over with.
Right.
Because they always do. But, wow. Yeah, this is... Usually most of the CMON Kickstarters, usually you end up spending at least close to $300 or $400 because of all the extra stuff that they add into it. The nice thing is, even if you just get in at the base level, they usually run backer kit or something, so you can put the add-ons in later as you get the money. So as long as you can fulfill the 110 up front, you can always add more stuff in later on. That's how it usually works. But I'm stoked, man. I love Black Plague, and I like fantasy miniatures, and even though we don't use them at my table, this is still cool as hell. So I don't know. There you go. What do you guys think?
Still annoyed that I never got my copy of Massive Darkness.
You never got your copy of Massive Darkness from CMON?
Yeah.
Did you tell them?
Yeah, I never got an answer back on them from that.
See, because I never got my copy of their Egyptian game that they had not too long ago come out, and they said, "Oh, well, all we can do is we can either send you the physical copy, or we can just give you a credit for what you paid." And I said, "Yeah, I'll take the credit." So yeah, you probably need to hammer them about that.
This was years ago at this point. This was like the original version.
Oh wow, that was
when it's lost to time.
Yeah,
they look like they make a great product, and their miniatures are awesome. It looks like a fun game. I discovered it way too late. I don't know how many different box sets they had out, and so I was just like, oh my god, I'm not even going to start now.
They have a ton, but I have diligently managed to track down everything for Black Plague. I still don't have everything for first edition, but
I think I do have everything for the other 7 Sins, which was from them. So
yeah,
I like that one at least.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that was the one that I saw where the miniatures were just like amazing. I was like, these would be great for like a Lamentations of the Flame Princess game or something like that.
Big time.
Mm-hmm.
I just
how many of you guys make games? I'm sorry, how many of you guys make modules and games and stuff like that? Because I know Victor does. You as well?
Yeah.
Right on. That's cool.
I haven't published. I'm in the process.
There we go. Awesome.
Ryan's working on something too.
On my show, I talk to create indie creators, tabletop games, everything. So I got to have you guys on. It'd be fun.
Yeah,
sure.
I write as well.
There we go.
Fiction. Yeah. I was going to say I picked up that Anno Domini 1666 minis game. Because that's the exact right time period for Whitechester, and they also make great minis for Lamentations or anything set early modern. They're really good.
Yeah, they are. You had something you wanted to show or talk about that you're working on?
Me?
You?
Yeah, I've just started on TPK, which is a set of adversarial rules for any version of D&D, basically.
So what? Okay, now when you say adversarial, what do you mean?
I mean, you as the games master are actually setting out to kill the players.
But you're doing it fairly?
We're doing it fairly within a structured environment. Do you remember the old game Rune? Anyone?
Vaguely.
Yeah,
I never played it.
Yeah, there was a computer game, Rune and Rune 2, but Robin Laws did an RPG based on that, where you took it in turns to be the GM, and you would set up a dungeon with a budget of points and stuff, and then the other players would fight through it, and it was competitive, so whoever killed the most enemies and got the highest score won. So kind of riffing off that and Descent, the board game Descent.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, and if you think about it, challenge ratings, though they don't work, the idea behind challenge ratings is to set a budget for stuff to throw at the players.
Squeaker, you always surprise me.
So I've done some maths based on various OSR things and have a kind of rough guide for how many hit dice of monsters you can throw at people to give them a 50-50 chance of survival, and then I'm working outwards from there.
Nice.
3 orcs to 1 fighter.
Yeah.
Roughly what it works out as.
Oh, yeah, and you played Descent quite a bit too. I only started playing Descent after the automated GM features came out on PC. because
yeah, you have to set it up the night before, and when you've got cats, that's like.
Well, I mean, I don't like adversarial games. I like co-op games. So that's one of the things that has stopped me from getting Hero Quest, the new version.
Well, then we need to play Gloomhaven on stream sometime.
I have Gloomhaven. I have I have Frosthaven too.
Frosthaven is amazing, but the digital translation for Gloomhaven, which would allow all of us to get together, is actually pretty faithful. We should set it up.
We should do that. I had to buy it.
I'd be up for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not expensive. I think it's like $25 for the digital.
Okay. I'll see about getting it when I get a paycheck. I know I played Talisman with Grim a couple times, I think.
Yeah. Talisman's fun. I have Talisman.
It's a lot of dice and a lot of randomness.
Yes, it is.
Talisman is either over very quickly or you're there for a week playing.
I loved it when I was like 12. And we tried to play it again when they re-released the 4th edition of the board game. Gosh, even this was old, 15 years ago or something like that. Yeah. And it just games have evolved for the good, right? When you're putting a board game on the table.
Squeak it, you need to get on the panel, dang it, because we talk about all the stuff you talk about. We're the same kind of nerds you are. You are our kind of nerd. You're our people. You cannot escape us.
But we're afraid of women. We're nerds.
Well, we're not afraid of them.
All of us are afraid of them.
I generally like women. They smell nice, and they tend to be easier.
I know too much about them to hate them. They're great.
Yeah.
If you treat them right, they do things that feel good to you. So we like women.
Like feed you.
And feed you. That's when I was knocking my headset off.
Or show you their feet. Oh, I'm sorry, Grim.
That's just Grim. That's just Grim.
Feet are Grim.
I had to get him. I had to. Victor, you got something?
Yeah, I just released my new book, Modern Necessities, which, I've been very low-key about the shilling tonight, obviously. But it's for old school essentials. It's a supplement that basically adds modern themed classes, firearms, equipment, like, night vision goggles, all that stuff. Even spells. I wrote like 48 spells in one sitting, and I hated it, but I had to get it done, and I rather do it in one sitting than, piecemeal it. And it has vehicles. It has like optional rules for like something called cinematic mode, where basically you can do like solo play or like you versus the GM, like that kind of stuff. It's available on Drive2RPG, on Itch, and on Big Geek Emporium. So, I mean, I could probably drop a link to at least one of those in the private chat.
Well, gee, Victor, I was just about to say, where can people find this fine product?
Elle needs to rush right out and buy it.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I'll just drop the tweet where I drop all the links. That'll be easier.
Will you be putting it up on necktheory.co.uk?
No. Well, maybe. Depends.
You totally should.
Victor, you ought to put it on Fund My Comic.
Time.
Where is my tweet? There we go. Yeah, just check out that tweet. In the follow-up one, you can find all the links to buy it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like 92 pages. It has I'll fucking read off the synopsis. It has 13 modern themed classes, rules for giving modern traits to a small selection of fantasy races, 56 modern weapons, rules for special ammunition and firearms attachments, 13 modern pieces of armor, 54 modern pieces of equipment, vehicle rules, including 19 example vehicles, 48 technomancy spells, 16 modern example NPCs, and extra rules to add more flavor. Plus, you also get a little Foundry module that I make. That basically, if you use Foundry Virtual Tabletop, it adds a compendium of all the spells and all the items, and you can just drag and drop them onto your character sheet and wall them and everything. So, yeah.
Buy it here, guys. Buy it here.
Yeah.
They need the money.
Plus they don't take like a massive cut.
I was going to say you get a bigger slice too. So
yeah.
I mean, don't buy it on itch.io because Fuck those
I just
guys.
put it up there because for completionist sake, because I have an account on there. But I think in all the time I've been on there, I've sold like 2 things. So
there you go. Yeah,
it's kind of terrible.
yeah. So $9. Oh my gosh, for all this? That's a steal.
Yeah,
Now,
92 pages.
Okay, now will you be offering a print-on-demand copy?
Yes, that's coming soon. But since it's just me doing it, I'm just like solo handling it. There's always stuff that I missed that I have to tweak. So I'm giving it a couple of weeks to do that. Just like getting some feedback. It's like, oh, you have a typo here. Oh, you messed up the spell, whatever. And once that's done, once I'm satisfied with it, that's when I'll do print on demand. So
Nice.
you're not stuck with like a print on demand version that's like out of date, basically.
Yeah,
I love the fact that it goes with OSE because everybody likes OSE. So
which also means it can go with anything else that's BX or like OSR compatible. So yeah.
Now, does this mean that Exalted Funeral is going to be picking up your book too?
Probably not, but
damn.
But I have been in contact with Necrotic Gnome, and they were very helpful. They allowed me to avoid the whole OGL business, so
nice.
That was really cool of them. But yeah, if this does well, I'm actually planning a Kickstarter for it, which will expand on it. So I want to like have like an intro adventure. I want to like have like a big modern themed dungeon. I'm also planning 2 extra supplements. One that adds cyberpunk / sci-fi rules, and one that adds like steampunk / Weird West rules.
Pictures by me.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're nice.
If I'm not, I'm always nice. I let you on my show every week.
That is true.
No, the difference is you don't let them leave.
Yeah.
True. I mean, people could get like really awesome stuff like this in their book. I mean, come on now. You want to see something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. T-shirt got some skills too.
Really needs the toilet.
He does, doesn't he? He's gripping it extra hard.
Put some muscles on him.
The next bastard gets in my way, I'm gonna fuck him up.
Mm-hmm. That is the first time I've ever seen your art.
What?
Yes.
Wow. Oh, I guess I'll have
really,
to.
That's really good. Do you do fantasy art?
I do. Nobody really tends to give a shit about my art, which makes me sad. But they never want to put it in their books or anything, except for Grimm, who was, I think he was just being nice to me that day. But
I desperately needed Villa. So.
Yeah.
That means as a struggling first-time game publisher, you'll work for the cheap. So
I always have. I usually work on royalties basis, but I've known to work on the cheap.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Dying Breed, you have to hide it when you do that.
No, I'll hire for royalties because I'm not going to sell shit.
I'm not gonna go through the whole thing like piece by piece, but I just wanted to show real quick that it's an actual book. It has like actual layout. It has actual art. It's not just some hack job that I did. So yeah, check it out if you want to do like stuff like Bright, that movie Bright, and Old School Essentials. If you just want to be like some dudes that like are hunting vampires, like with your MP5s or whatever, like you can do all sorts of stuff. You can even just do like serious like non-fantasy military stuff. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
Like
it has Victor, your footers for your pages, your page numbers there. That's awesome. I like that.
Oh, the little Corsair. Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah. So yeah, check it out if you're interested in that. I work hard on it. So.
What I want to do is I want to take that and find a way to scale down Darwin's World, because it was made for D20 Modern, which it's a fine system, but it's kind of bloated as far as the rules and stuff go. So I would like to scale down the rules for it to something simple like OSE, and still run Darwin's World.
Yeah, you could definitely do that, and yeah,
because I want to do that on stream. I want to introduce people to the awesomeness of Darwin's World.
And like I said, I want to do like little cyberpunk / sci-fi supplements. So that's gonna have like rules for like cybernetics, like energy weapons, like all sorts of stuff. And then I also want to do like a Weird West like / steampunk one. So there's like there's gonna be like something for everyone that likes that kind of stuff. So
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Well, I'm considering doing a source book for my IP. Just kind of doing like the lore, but I know that a lot of people don't really buy that stuff for lore. They buy it for like job classes and monster stats and stuff like that. So I want to take some of the stuff that is kind of unique to my setting and then put that into a certain rule format. Now, originally I thought like 5e, but then like all the OGL shit happened and like, like I don't want to approach it. I don't think I want to do 5e, especially now if it's going to be 5.5. So I'm considering like setting it up as Castles and Crusades, do their stats because I really like them. I think that it's a great replacement for D&D. So I don't know what other systems would you guys suggest? Like who's buying up modules, for different rule sets? Like do you guys
OSR?
Know?
Well,
Go for
largely within the larger entities within the OSR scene. It's the larger entities within the OSR scene seem to be Castle and Crusades to an extent, and then we're talking old school essentials. Those seem to be the two big ones from what I pick up.
Basic fantasy and
Yeah, I mean there are other big ones as well, but those two I think are just kind of the dominant ones. Primarily because Old Essentials has a really good layout.
Okay. Yeah, and even though it's based on 5e, I don't know. You could reach out Shadow Dark and piggyback that. I mean, it's riding a hell of a wave right now.
Well, I tried contacting them on Twitter because I'd love to interview them, but I don't know. No response. But not saying that means anything. You never know. They might say something back.
Venger's out there. You could piggyback some of his stuff.
Or just ask Grim, because Grim is pretty good at inventing stuff.
Duh. He's right above me. Okay.
He's a writer. Silverlock, yes. Darwin's World has come out in Savage Worlds. Quite a bit of it recently, too. I have not picked it up because I don't play Savage Worlds. I'm kind of curious to see how much of my material made it in. I'm not saying which parts I worked on, but I did.
All the ones about pee.
Yes, all the ones about urine and poop.
Yes.
It was bold of them to keep the wizard.
That's right. I shall melt you with my acidic urine.
Yeah, if you want to check it out and like run your own like Darwin's World hack t-shirt, I'm like curious to hear how that'll go.
Well, you'll see it on stream because I'll run it live.
Yeah, I'll have to join it obviously because it'll be like using my game. So
you mean that's how I can get you into my game?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, now we know.
By buying my game.
Okay, Grim. Now I'm gonna have to speed up the timetable on the God Beast so we can finish Scarlet Heroes.
Are we going to be playing tomorrow? By the way?
Yes, we will be playing Scarlet Heroes tomorrow. I would like to move the time to something that can accommodate Ryan.
Tomorrow I am actually out of town, so
okay, so
stream ends. Screw Ryan. Once the stream ends, I gotta go pack. So
isn't it Easter tomorrow? So
yeah, it's Easter tomorrow. So
we gotta crucify some. Oh wait, that already happened. Okay, I gotta check my checklist, my Jew checklist. So.
Yeah, I don't actually know how many players we're going to be able to have for tomorrow, so we may just have to postpone it for next week, Grim.
No,
I know.
I can solo. It's fine,
dude. My table's been on hiatus, or will be all of April because I'm doing like the promotion circuit. So, yeah, kind of sucks. Like we play every Saturday, and nope, not for at least a month or two. So, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, we'll figure out something, but I do kind of want to run it a little bit earlier than 3:00, just because we need to get into the habit anyway. Because Randy Nichols wanted to join us again, and he can't make it any earlier than 12:30. But knowing him, he's probably going to be stuck tomorrow anyway with Easter family stuff. So. So
I just really wish I'd got in on Jim's Hot War test.
It was interesting.
That. I watched that. I mean, the rules, okay, but man, the setting and the whole environment and stuff, I was just like, man, this is my kind of thing.
Yeah, the setting was good. It's just, man, the rules. Ugh.
Yeah. I saw a setting yesterday. It was like, oh, this new setting for this book. I think it was a hero system. It's like, oh, what if Ragnarok happened in World War II? And now it's like supernatural post-apocalypse World War II weapon. And I was like really jealous because that's something I should have thought of.
Yeah.
The only thing I was disappointed in is that nobody spoke in funny voices and nobody cried.
Oh. There wasn't a lot to cry about in that game. I mean, other than the fact that, the driver got killed and my character was the only one who seemed to care about that. So collected his dog tags and his photo and returned it to his wife.
Murder hobos. God damn it.
We weren't murder hobos.
That's usually what happens in my game. It's like,
murder homos.
I prefer not to think of it.
If it's a 5e game.
I prefer not to think of it as murder hoboing it so much as wandering itinerant heroes.
Yeah.
Nice. I like your definition there.
Yeah. So if they're a little rough around the edges and do bad things, come on.
Sociopathic tendencies. That's all.
Yeah, it's like I've told people on many, many occasions. You have to be crazy to begin with to go take up adventuring because you could have a long life. Tilling a field or working a trade in a town or doing virtually anything besides choosing to strap on armor and go face to face with shit that can kill you.
Yeah. I kind of think of it as like entrepreneurs. So like, if you don't have the entrepreneur spirit, you probably won't be an adventurer either. You gotta be willing to go get killed.
People scoff at murder hobos, but that whole concept does have like a precedence in like cinema and stuff. Like Jimbo, the man with no name, like
Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, there's definitely like a trope there. So
yeah, mercenary companies, back in the day were pretty ruthless. Even Berserk kind of takes a little bit of that murder hoboing into account. So yeah, it's a thing. You could say that.
Yeah. So does Blackwater. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Different conversation. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. Different connotations. All right. Does anybody got anything else? Or
nope.
Oh, I can certainly shill something.
What do you want to show?
For those of you that don't listen, definitely listen to Nerdcognito weekly. It's a 1 hour audio podcast. Listen to it on your way to work, in the car, do that sort of thing. And right now, instead of instead of begging or borrowing or stealing money, we've produced the official Sparkle Troll T-shirt to try to raise money. Not trying to make a mint here. We just want to break even so that we can keep going for another year. So
waiting on a paycheck.
Buy an overpriced Sparkle Troll T-shirt. There's 3 different varieties. There's the standard, there's the premium, which is a 60-40 poly blend, and a long sleeve option for you. I
can guarantee you, big men, it comes in big dude sizes. I know, because that's the first thing I looked at.
Absolutely, that was part of the choices with the vendor that we chose to go with. Would like to sell 50. We'll see how that goes. But 50 will keep the fires burning for another year. So listen to Nerdcognito absolutely everywhere you get your podcast, and buy a Sparkle Troll t-shirt, because you can irritate the Sparkle Troll in your local gaming store. And what more could you want than to really piss them off and send them into therapy? So
I don't have a local gaming store, so I'm out.
You could just wear it on stream, Vic. Although I am not certain what international shipping is, but it's through a major vendor. It's through Bonfire.
Check it out.
So check it out. Buy an overpriced t-shirt.
This is Ironcaster reminding all of you out there to spay and neuter your local sparkle trolls.
Yes. Yes.
Also, don't litter. Remember, you're Native American.
And
No,
There it is. There's the tier.
they're neutering themselves. Don't worry about it.
yeah. Well, Aaron, it's been great having you on. Dying Breed, it's good having you again, and then Ryan and Victor and Ironcaster and Grim as always.
Yeah.
And just a reminder on the way out, if you have not yet included a hurdy-gurdy in your hurdy-gurdy in your games yet, let me remind you how fucking badass they are. That's right.
Exactly.
Aaron was headbanging to that fucker.
Was that? Wait a minute. Was that Amana Marth? Who was that? She was covering.
Eluvati. She was actually the hurdy-gurdy player for Eluvati
I don't
back
know that.
then.
I'll have to look it up.
Oh
And if
yeah.
you buy my game, you can put a
that.
machine gun in it. So
That's right. You could put a machine gun. You could put a dart launcher. You could do anything. There's so many possibilities. It's got a crank on one end, people. You could put a Gatling gun in the end of it.
For real.
Just
Yeah.
use your imagination.
Yeah.
Oh, never gets old. T-shirt never gets old.
And they've been around since the 11th century, so they're authentically medieval.
Yeah. Rattle them, boys. I love it.
Castor, are you muted? Did you say something?
No, I think I'm all right. Can you hear me?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
it's just soft spoken.
Soft spoken.
I want to say, Ironcaster, your backdrop is awesome. I love me some Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah, same. I wish they
Thank
did
you
more
for
with
that.
it.
Thank you for that.
Wish I had a backdrop. I just have
Everybody
thing.
should Vampire Hunter D. And I don't mean just the two movies. I mean, like, go check out some of the novels.
Yeah, the novels are great. Mm-hmm.
It would make a great tabletop setting.
Sure would.
Heavy
Be nice if somebody
influence.
made one.
Heavy influence on my game setting. Yeah, well, and the comics now too. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'll fuck it. I'll make it. I'll just file the serial numbers off.
There you go. There you go. Do it. All right. Well, everyone, it's been great being with you all this week, and we hope you enjoyed. We hope you had some laughs. We had 25 people in the stream at one time. That was pretty awesome.
Nice.
I saw 28 at one point.
Ooh,
Nice.
damn. I'll have to double check my stream elements when the stream is over with, and I'll let you know. But thank y'all, and see you later. And
Bye, nerds. Thank you. See you.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.
narrow subway of life.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.